I did not raise my voice. I did not slam doors. I did not make a scene. When my daughter told me I wasn't welcome at her wedding because her fiancé's family found me too blue-collar, I simply nodded, set down my coffee, and walked out of that overpriced brunch spot in downtown Seattle. The valet brought my truck around, the same truck I'd used to haul lumber for the deck at her condo, the same truck that moved her furniture 3 times in 2 years, the same truck whose payments I'd been covering because, Dad, I need to build my credit, not use it. I drove home in silence. No radio, no phone calls, just the sound of rain on the windshield and the quiet realization that I'd been funding my own irrelevance. My name is Frank Donovan. I'm 63 years old. I spent 37 years as a union electrician, waking up at 4:30 in the morning, working in crawl spaces and attics, coming home with my hands cracked and bleeding. I put 2 kids through college without them taking a single loan. I bought my daughter, Rebecca, her first car. I paid for her study abroad in Florence because she said it would change her life. I covered her entire graduate school tuition at the University of Washington because she promised she'd be the first doctor. Donovan in the family. And when she met Harrison Kent III, yes, the third, I smiled and shook his hand, even though he looked at my calloused palms like they might be contagious. I wrote the check for the venue deposit at the Fairmont Olympic Hotel. I agreed to pay for the flowers, the photographer, the open bar. $28,000, and that was just the down payment. I did all of it because she was my daughter, because that's what fathers do. But apparently, that's not what daughters do. The brunch had been her idea. She wanted to discuss some adjustments to the wedding plan. I should have known something was wrong when she picked a place in Capitol Hill where the coffee cost $9 and came in a cup the size of a shot glass. Harrison was there too, wearing a sweater that probably cost more than my mortgage payment, doing that thing where he smiled without his eyes. Rebecca cleared her throat. She'd been practicing this. I could tell. Dad, we need to talk about the wedding guest list. I set down my tiny, overpriced coffee. Okay, Harrison's family is, well, they're very traditional, very formal, and his mother has some concerns. Concerns about what? Harrison jumped in, his voice dripping with the kind of condescension they teach at private schools. Frank, it's nothing personal. It's just that weddings are about merging families, and sometimes there are cultural differences that need to be navigated carefully. I looked at my daughter. She wouldn't meet my eyes. Rebecca, what is he saying? She took a breath. His family thinks it might be better if you didn't come to the ceremony. You could come to the reception, maybe, but the ceremony itself is going to be very formal. And they think what? They think you might not fit in. The words hung there in the air like smoke. Might not fit in. At my own daughter's wedding. The wedding I was paying for. Harrison leaned forward. It's not about you personally, Frank. It's about optics. My father is a federal judge. My mother sits on 3 nonprofit boards. The guest list is full of senators, CEOs, people from very established families. We need everything to be polished, as if I was a stain, a smudge, something that needed to be buffed out before the important people arrived. I looked at Rebecca again. She was crying now, but not the kind of crying that means she feels bad for hurting you. The kind that means she feels bad about how uncomfortable this conversation is for her. Becca, I said quietly, I'm your father. I know, Dad. I know. But this isn't just about me. It's about starting a life with Harrison, and his family is really important to him. And I need you to understand that this is bigger than just one day. Bigger than the man who raised you? Harrison's jaw tightened. This is exactly what I was worried about. The guilt tripping, the emotional manipulation. Rebecca warned me you might react this way. I stood up, carefully, slowly. I pulled my wallet out and put 2 20s on the table for the coffee I didn't finish. You don't have to worry about me guilt-tripping anyone, I said. I won't be a problem at all. And I walked out. The rain had picked up by the time I got home. My house is small, 1,200 square feet in Ballard. Bought in 1993 for $90,000. Now worth over $700,000 thanks to tech money flooding the neighborhood. It's nothing fancy. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a garage full of tools I've collected over 4 decades. But it's mine. Paid off. No debt. I sat in my kitchen and pulled up my banking app on my phone. I wasn't some old man who didn't understand technology. I'd had to learn, because Rebecca was always sending me Venmo requests. Dad, can you send $400 for my car insurance? Dad, can you cover my dentist appointment? Dad, the condo HOA fees went up. I scrolled through 6 months of transaction history. It was stunning, really, when you looked at it all in one place. Truck payment, $450 per month. Phone bill, $85 per month. Health insurance supplement because her job's coverage was really bad, $320 per month. Car insurance, $180 per month. Gym membership because Harrison insisted they needed to work out at this boutique place in Bellevue, $220 per month. Then there were the one-offs. Furniture, kitchen remodel, that trip to Napa for Harrison's birthday. The engagement party I wasn't invited to, but I paid for anyway. And the wedding. God, the wedding. Venue deposit, $8,500. Photographer, $4,200. Florist, $3,800. Catering down payment, $11,500. I added it up. In the last 12 months, I'd given Rebecca, or spent on Rebecca, just over $83,000 for a wedding I wasn't welcome at. I opened my contacts and called my bank. A very nice woman named Patricia answered. Hi, Patricia. I need to stop some recurring payments and cancel a few checks that haven't cleared yet. Of course, Mr. Donovan. Which accounts? All of them, I said. There was a pause. I'm sorry? All of them? Every automatic transfer going to my daughter. Every pending check. I want them stopped today. Sir, are you sure? Some of these might cause... I'm sure. All right. Let me pull up your account. This might take a few minutes. It took 7 minutes. 7 minutes to undo a year of funding someone else's life. When Patricia finished, she asked if there was anything else. Actually, yes. I wrote a check for $11,500 to a catering company 2 weeks ago. Has it cleared? Let me look. No, sir. It's still pending. Stop it. Sir, if this is for a wedding or an event, stopping payment might cause issues with the vendor. I'm aware. Stop it anyway. Done. Anything else? I thought about it. One more thing. There's a venue called the Fairmont Olympic Hotel. I put down a deposit of $8,500. Can you tell me if that's refundable? I can't tell you about their refund policy, but I can tell you the transaction posted 4 weeks ago, so you'd need to contact them directly. Got it. Thanks, Patricia. I hung up and sat there in the silence of my kitchen. My phone buzzed. A text from Rebecca. Dad, I'm sorry about brunch. I know this is hard, but I really think this is for the best. Harrison's family is going to be such a big part of our lives, and I need you to trust me on this. Love you. I didn't respond. By the next morning, the calls started. The first one came at 6:45 a.m. I was up 37 years of waking before dawn doesn't just go away, and I was on my second cup of coffee when my phone lit up. Rebecca. I sent it to voicemail. She called again at 7. Again at 7:15. At 7:30, I answered. Dad. Oh my God, Dad, what did you do? Good morning, Rebecca. Don't good morning me. The caterer just called. They said your check bounced. They said if we don't get them payment by Friday, they're canceling our contract. That's unfortunate. Unfortunate? Dad, the wedding is in 6 weeks. We can't find another caterer in 6 weeks. Then I guess you'll need to figure something out. What is that supposed to mean? It means exactly what it sounds like. You're an adult, a doctor. You have a fiancé from a very established family. I'm sure between all of you, you can handle a catering bill. There was a long pause. When she spoke again, her voice was different, harder. Is this because of what we talked about yesterday? You mean when you uninvited me from your wedding? We didn't uninvite you. We just thought it would be better if... Rebecca, I need to go. I have an appointment. Dad, wait. I hung up. The appointment was a lie. I didn't have anywhere to be, but I did have things to do. I called the Fairmont Olympic Hotel and asked to speak to their events coordinator. A woman named Lauren answered. Hi, Lauren. My name is Frank Donovan. I put down a deposit for my daughter's wedding, and I need to discuss cancellation. Oh no, I'm so sorry to hear that. Let me pull up your contract. Donovan, you said? Yes. All right, here we are. Your deposit was $8,500. According to our policy, deposits are non-refundable within 60 days of the event date. The wedding is in 6 weeks. I see that. I'm sorry, Mr. Donovan, but the deposit is forfeit. However, you're still responsible for the final payment, which is due 2 weeks before the event. That balance is $32,400. What happens if I don't pay it? Lauren's voice became very careful. Then we would have to cancel the event and pursue collections for breach of contract. Understood. Thank you for your time, Mr. Donovan. Wait, is there something we can do to help? If this is a financial issue, it's not a financial issue. Goodbye, Lauren. I hung up and made myself another cup of coffee. My phone rang 19 times that day. Rebecca called 11 times. Harrison called 5 times. Someone from the florist called twice. The photographer called once. I answered none of them. That evening, someone knocked on my door. I looked through the peephole. Harrison. He was alone, standing on my porch in his expensive coat, looking like a man who'd never been told no in his entire life. I opened the door. Frank, we need to talk. Do we? Can I come in? I stepped aside. He walked into my living room and looked around like he was cataloging evidence for a future argument. The worn couch, the coffee table I'd built myself, the TV that was older than his car. Frank, I don't know what Rebecca said to upset you, but this has gotten out of hand. Has it? You stopped payment on the catering. The venue is calling us about the final payment. Rebecca is having panic attacks. This is our wedding, Frank. You're hurting your own daughter. I sat down in my chair. I didn't offer him a seat. Let me ask you something, Harrison. Do you love her? Of course I love her. Then why did you tell her to uninvite me? His face went red. That wasn't. Look, my family has certain expectations. Your family. Not you. It's complicated. It's really not. You either wanted me there or you didn't. And you didn't. So I'm not coming. And I'm not paying. Harrison stood up. You're being petty and vindictive. This is emotional blackmail. No, son. Emotional blackmail is what you and your family did to Rebecca when you made her choose between her father and your mother's approval. I'm just declining the invitation. We need that money. And there it was. The truth, stripped of all the fancy language and careful politeness. Then I suggest you ask your father, the federal judge, or your mother with her 3 non-profit boards. Or maybe dip into that trust fund I'm sure you have, because you're not getting another dime from me. Harrison's hands were shaking. You'll regret this. I doubt it. You know your way out. He left. The door slammed hard enough to rattle the windows. By the end of the week, the whole thing had collapsed. The caterer canceled. The florist put a lien on the decorations they'd already ordered. The photographer sent a certified letter demanding payment for the engagement photos they'd already delivered. The venue sent a collections notice for the unpaid balance. And Rebecca stopped calling. She didn't stop texting, though. The messages came in waves, spread across 3 days. Dad, how could you do this to me? Everyone is asking what happened. I don't know what to tell them. Harrison's mother is furious. She's saying, our family is unreliable. We're going to have to postpone. Do you understand that? We have to postpone our wedding because of you. I can't believe you're being this cruel. Fine. Don't come to the wedding. Don't come to anything. I don't want you in my life if this is who you are. I read every message. I didn't respond to any of them. 3 weeks went by. My son, Marcus, called from Portland. He'd heard everything from Rebecca, of course. She'd called him crying, spinning the story her way. Dad, what the hell happened? I told him. All of it. The brunch, the uninvitation, the reaction. There was a long silence on the other end. Jesus, Dad. Yeah. She really said you didn't fit in? Harrison said it. She agreed. And you were paying for everything? Everything. Another silence. Then Marcus laughed. It wasn't a happy laugh. Good for you, Dad. You think so? Hell yes. I think so. Becca's been acting like she's better than everyone since she started dating that guy. You know, she told Mom she couldn't come to her birthday dinner because Harrison's family had a prior commitment at their country club? I didn't know that. She's changed, Dad. and not in a good way. Maybe this will wake her up, or maybe she'll hate me forever. If she does, that's on her. You didn't do anything wrong. We talked for another hour. It was the longest conversation I'd had with Marcus in months. When we hung up, I felt lighter somehow, like I'd been carrying something heavy and finally set it down. 4 weeks after the brunch, Rebecca showed up at my house. It was a Sunday morning. I was in the garage, rebuilding a carburetor for a buddy's old Chevy, when I heard her car pull up. She looked terrible. Her hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail. No makeup, yoga pants, and a sweatshirt that had a coffee stain on the sleeve. This wasn't the polished Dr. Rebecca Donovan who lived in the condo in Fremont with the water view. This was my daughter. "Hi, Dad." "Hi, Becca." She stepped into the garage. "Can we talk?" I wiped my hands on a rag and nodded. We went inside. I made coffee the regular kind, in my regular coffee maker. She sat at the kitchen table, the same table where she'd done her homework in high school, where we'd had breakfast every Saturday morning for 18 years. "The wedding's off," she said finally. "I heard. We postponed it. Indefinitely. We couldn't. Everything fell apart so fast. The venue, the caterer, all of it. And then Harrison's mother started making all these comments about how we clearly weren't ready, how maybe we should wait until we were more financially stable." She said it with air quotes, her voice bitter. "And Harrison?" I asked. "Harrison said we should have a smaller wedding, something we could pay for ourselves. He said we didn't need all the bells and whistles, that it was getting out of control anyway. That's reasonable." I said no. I looked at her. "Why?" "Because it was never about the wedding. It was about his family, about fitting into their world. And I realized, I don't want to fit into their world, Dad, not if it means cutting you out." Her voice cracked on the last word. Tears spilled down her cheeks. "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You were right. You were right about everything. I was so desperate to be part of Harrison's life that I forgot who I was. I forgot where I came from. I forgot you." I reached across the table and took her hand. It was shaking. "Becca, I didn't do this to punish you. I did it because I needed you to understand something." "What?" "That you can't have it both ways. You can't treat someone like they're an embarrassment and then expect them to fund your life. Love isn't a transaction. It's not something you can pay for with enough checks or enough sacrifices. It has to go both ways," she sobbed. "I know. God, Dad, I know. And I was so horrible to you." "You were. I don't know how to fix this." I squeezed her hand. "You start by deciding what you really want. Not what Harrison wants. Not what his family wants. What you want. And then you build a life based on that. With someone who respects where you came from. Not someone who wants you to forget it." "I don't think Harrison and I are going to make it," she said quietly. "Do you love him?" She was quiet for a long time. "I don't know anymore. I love who I thought he was. But the man who asked me to uninvite my own father? I don't know if I can love that person." "Then you have your answer." We sat there for a while, drinking coffee in silence. Eventually, she asked if she could stay for dinner. I said yes. We ordered pizza, her favorite, pepperoni and mushroom from the place on Greenwood that we used to go to when she was a kid. We didn't talk about Harrison or the wedding. We talked about her work at the clinic, about Marcus and his new girlfriend, about the Seahawks' terrible season. Normal things, small things, the kind of things families talk about when they're just being families. Before she left, she hugged me. A real hug, not the quick, perfunctory thing she'd been giving me for the past 2 years. "I love you, Dad. I love you too, Becca. Can we do dinner next week? Just us?" "I'd like that." She left. I stood in the doorway and watched her drive away, and for the first time in months, I felt like maybe we'd be okay. Not today, not tomorrow, but eventually. 2 months later, Rebecca called off the engagement. She moved out of the condo, the one I'd helped with, the one where she and Harrison were supposed to build their life together. She got a smaller place in Greenwood, close to me. We started having dinner every Sunday. She never asked me for money. She figured it out on her own. The truck payment, the insurance, all of it. She even started paying me back. $50 here, $100 there. I told her she didn't have to. She said she wanted to. Harrison sent me a message on Facebook. It was short. You destroyed my relationship with Rebecca. I hope you're happy. I deleted it without responding. Marcus asked me once if I regretted it. The money, the wedding, all of it. I thought about it for a while before I answered. I regret that it had to happen that way, I said. I regret that she had to learn that lesson so painfully. But I don't regret standing up for myself. And I don't regret teaching her that love has to be mutual, that respect isn't optional. That's a good answer, Dad. Thanks, son. I'm still driving the same truck, still living in the same house, still waking up before dawn most days, even though I don't have to anymore. But now, when my daughter calls, it's because she wants to talk to me, not because she needs something. And when we have dinner, she asks about my life, my friends, my projects in the garage. She sees me now, really sees me, not as a wallet or a safety net or a problem to be managed, as her father. And that, more than any wedding or any amount of money, is worth everything. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't slam doors. I didn't make a scene. I just stopped paying for a life where I wasn't welcome. And in doing so, I got my daughter back.